Group B all day today here at the Intel Extreme Masters for League of Legends. And right now both these teams currently sitting pretty at 1-0. One of these teams will drop to 1-1. One will continue at 2-0. And we'll see who's going to be. Thresh getting banned out here from SKTT1. A champion that's seen a lot of limelight early on in the tournament. And then from that point on, essentially has just been banned at almost every opportunity. A lot of teams just really don't like playing against him in particular. And he's gotten the ban a lot, actually.
Any eagle-eyed viewers of the ESL Asia stream will be wondering one question. Where is Horo, that very well-renowned jungler for SKTT1? He is re-ID'd. He is now Beazelheim.
Yes, much to my chagrin, unfortunately. I've told him personally a few times that this disappoints me, but he said he doesn't care, so there you go. But that is Horo, yes. That is the same jungler. As we said, the only change here is Suno for SKTT1, who is their new mid-player replacing Mightily, who used to play for them. And who was actually part of their team that won their first IEM, which was, of course, Cologne. So, volleyball.
It's such an impressive thing to go from a new team, not able to compete in OGN Champions Winter, their first time on the main stage, winning both the qualifiers and the tournament convincingly, and then having that, almost sophomore slump there. But, they came out to play against Frost. Anexis is a very different beast that they'll know a lot less about.
Yeah, I think both these teams actually maybe quite careful here. I mean, I expect to see some fairly general bans and picks here for both teams. I mean, maybe Lux is going to get banned here by Anexis, but other than that, all these bans look, I guess, they look a lot kind of characteristic of this tournament, but they certainly are just fairly safe, fairly standard. I mean, there's no Lux ban that's coming out here. It might be a contested pick here, Anexis might want to go for it, but Jarvan's going to be locked in first on for SKTT1, and I don't know, Europe and Korea don't get to play each other very often, so we'll see just how prepared these teams are for this one. There is Lux, though, going straight over to Solava. So, as you said,
Rumble, of course, was banned last game, so picking up Rumble here.
Yeah, it was banned by SK against the Nexus as well, so maybe he's Axis, maybe that's a champion he loves to play. But it is going to go here. In fact, something we don't get to see all that often in drafts has just happened. The two solo landers have already more or less been decided here.
Which, it gives SKT1 a lot of flexibility and options, maybe even a Syndra pick coming out here. We don't know much about Suno's champion pool. But, I mean, Syndra's burst, just incredible. I think most people would have seen Bjergsen's pentakill on Syndra at the LCS recently. She's a super strong champion. She has that utility once she gets the 5th point in her stun to be able to have quite a large AoE stun. And I actually like the first pick of Jarvan here. Beazelheim did massive work, facilitated a lot of what happened with the win there in the first game. And the other main component to that was Twitch.
Yeah, so Twitch going to go into the pool already, and I think we are going to get Sidra as well. I mean, our knowledge of Suno so far is that he played Lux pretty well in the last game, and Lux isn't available, of course, so assuming that he knows how to play Lux, he probably knows how to play against her as well, and they're going to go ahead and pick Syndra here, a champion we're seeing a little bit more of, but not that much more. I mean, she's still a pretty unexplored champion in terms of competitive players, so pretty excited to see this here from Suno, because, as we said, we don't know too much about him.
Again, Syndra does a lot of damage, Praise Due Time. That's really the limit of my knowledge of that champion. The CC can be crazy, but the damage, the burst is just incredible.
Yeah, she's pretty unique when it comes to utility, but yes, big damages is a pretty broad and descriptive statement of what Syndra does as an AP mid. So
sticking with the Caitlyn pick here on the Anexis side, but Taric. I mean, Taric was taken away from them last time. Hold on, wait, what?
Well, that's not Caitlyn. Oh, wow.
That's going to be their jungler. We're going to see jungle Nasus, something Gambit Gaming has done to great extent, to the extent that it's commonly banned against them. We're going to see, unless we see some Rumble in the jungle, which, let me tell you, very unlikely. It's going to be a Nasus jungle.
Yeah, looks like it. And I guess they're going to last pick their AD carry of all things. But, I mean, they're against Twitch at this point. They're probably not too afraid. And I don't know, would you have left the Nasus pick to last here if you were an Nexus? Because you're not encouraged to show that pick at this point.
They don't want to pick an AD carry with Taric here that might lose to a complete bottom lane. They didn't want to pick the complete bottom lane. And Nasus, his main role in this game is kind of wither Twitch if he can get to him, if he's visible. Otherwise, Syndra, and they're going to try and pick up those targets. They're both very high damage, but both very squishy. So that's what they're looking at. Oh, it looks like Reaper might be doing double duty on Akali here.
Maybe. We're going to have Zyra's support from the looks of things there. And, nope, never mind. He last second swaps over to Renekton. But pretty much anything aggressive tends to suit Reapid, so he'll be fine with this champion as well. And we
So
have...
now they're picking into the completed bot lane. Twitch Zara, which has a lot of space control between the Venom Cask and Syndra's plants and E ability. Tarek's already picked, tanky support. He can definitely do the hard initiating. Now, to pick Tristana after just all the struggle Candy Panda had last game, very interesting to me.
I mean, the principle's the same here. It's a fairly aggressive lane that punishes mistakes. Looks like maybe Alkel's going to go back to Caitlyn instead. Had a lot of success with it in the last one. It's good against Twitch as well.
See, I think Tristana against Zyra is just a horrible matchup because you want to use your jump offensively. Zyra has a ton of disengage. You get punished so hard for getting into melee range of a Zyra. So much smarter, much safer. The Caitlyn pick comes out.
Yeah, and now we have kind of interesting bottom lanes. I mean, Tarek Caitlyn was a standard for a while when everybody was doing all the Dazzle into Yordle Snap Trap combos, which doesn't work nearly as well now, unfortunately. You can't guarantee that the trap hits. It's a little buggy, and they kind of change the load time on the traps. But it's almost a defensive bottom lane here for SKTT1, which is something that Twitch, I guess, can do, but he does sometimes prefer being a little bit more aggressive because Twitch trades very, very well 1v1. He has crazy, crazy, crazy damage in a duel, so it's kind of interesting to me that they went with, it's that someone like Zyra instead of someone maybe a little bit more truly passive like Sono. But I can tell you that if either of them get caught in a stun and combo, they're going to take a lot of damage, especially Starlast Zyra. Zyra is very, very squishy.
On the blue side, though, I mean, if they pick up that level 2, the potential to hit the the AoE stun from Zyra into the Venom Cask and true damage passive, along, of course, with the expunge, so much damage come out there. You don't even need Ignite. You do so much damage. So the blue side advantage makes this Twitch Zyra lane look a little bit more saucy.
Yeah, I like this cleanse here as well, just to make sure you can get out of Dazzle when you need to as Twitch. So we'll see. I guess we could have some fireworks early on in bottom lane. But I guess of all the bottom lanes, or of all the AD carries, I should say, Caitlyn does not all in all that well, unfortunately. That's probably one of her few weaknesses, is that she doesn't really do what a lot of other ADs do, and that's really go all in at level 2. So I'm guessing Twitch is going to want to do that if he can.
That kit, though, I mean, page time. The funny thing is, if you miss time and all in against Caitlyn, you're going to take that extra auto attack trying to get out of her 675 range. And if she's level 9, I mean, so much long-range damage she can hit. So you're correct, she doesn't quite have the level 2. She's probably not going to hit level 2 before Twitch, given that the Raven Starless are on the blue side. But a very, very safe champion, obviously.
Oh, yeah. And, especially with the Tarek there, you misengage, you don't get your all-in, you're walking through auto attacks, you get your auto-snap trapped, you're getting dazzled, yeah. You get punished pretty hard. And that's what Caitlyn is very good at doing against other ADs, is punishing them. I mean, Caitlyn Tarek is a lane that's almost predicated on the idea that your opponent's going to make a mistake, because if there's a lane that capitalizes well on your opponent messing up, it's probably this one.
30 seconds until minions.
And up top lane, we see once again Renekton, the players very confidently starting with red pot. We're probably going to see once again a level 2 all in, as we only have consumables on Rumble's side compared to the potential to add 120 health and 15 AD at minimum at level 1.
I like that Renekton players do this in particular against Rumble as well. By the way, the timer is trolling me really hard. Okay, there we are. It's gone. It was just floating.
Jumps alive?
No. It's good. It just was randomly. It was floating above the overlay. It was very confusing, but it's good now.
I was a second behind as well, so I just sped up.
It's all good. Everything has been fixed.
I think Reaper's going to take the extra experience here, pace you time, and this all in's coming.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's Reaper. Do we really expect anything less?
Nope.
No, not at this point. He's going to get the big wolf here as well. Suna's going to do a bit of the help. There we go. Team jungling, go. There we are. Picks it up. And wow, that's a ton of experience, actually. Wow, I didn't even realize. That's half a level at level 1. That's pretty crazy.
Well, it was exclusive experience. I mean, Syndra came out with basically, less than a cast of minions experience.
Yep. So we're gonna chill top lane for a second, because Reaper has got plans right here in this lane. And Rumble, we always talk about how strong he is at level 3, when he gets access to all his abilities, but you know what level is not 3?
Here we go.
Yeah, here we are. There's Reaper coming in. The Ruthless Predator after the Slice and Dice. Ignite used in there as well. And did pop his red pot there for basically some extra damage. And already Zax is going to be forced out of lane. So, he didn't get the kill, but mission accomplished, I think, for Renekton.
It's interesting. Even with the 9 pots to back that, I guess he's gone back to pick up. He had a ward, so not able to pick up any items. He wants to hold the pots for laning, so I guess he feels like the minions aren't going to hit the turret. If that exchange had happened later in the game, he would have lost a full wave, obviously, if Renekton had more points in his queue. So it's just a case of, hey, these pots are going to come in handy. I don't feel like I'm going to miss out on too much experience right now. Even though I'm level 1, I'm going back.
Yeah, Renekton pretty intelligently actually freezing this lane as well, so really wants to deny Zax's experience. In fact,
Speaking of intelligent, though, what a time to gank.
yeah, Bezahan coming in, level 3 Renekton now. As level 1 Rumble is here. I mean, it's not quite 3-man, 3-minute tower dive, but it could be 2-man, 3-minute tower dive here. And level 1 Rumble is very, very vulnerable. There's Bezahan going in for the tower dive, coming in with double buffs and level 3 there. Reaper now coming in as well. They will trade the tower. Ruthless Predator. There's a ridiculous amount of damage on Renekton's got Fury, and Reaper is very sad to not have his Ignite there. Because that would have been a surefire kill. Yeah, he's got to run now.
He wants his brother.
There's overpowered with there, he does. He does. I think he's going to kill his brother here for first blood. The good stun from Reaper, but the damage is coming out from Siphoning Strike. He slices and dices away. Very nice moves there. But still gets first blooded there.
Last tick of red buff takes him down. That's got to be gutting.
And a beautiful light binding Calaver over the top now as well onto Bezelhan. The Ignite going down needs probably one more auto attack onto Jarvan. Nope, never mind. Didn't need it. And steals double buffs in there as well. So a very nice start there for Anexis to kick things off. And a good aggressive play there from Reaper to start things off. A greatly engineered gank there from Bezelhan. But everybody else from Anexis was there. And now things are not looking as good as they were before.
Well, I mean, the simple fact is that Bezelhan missed his EQ combo, and they still went for the dive. If he had hit that combo, there would have been about, let's say, 200 burst damage coming out there, assuming the auto attack came in. That would have gone completely different. They had to disengage there. The call wasn't made, and 0 for 2 is the exchange.
Yeah, Nexus in the right place, right time, and Calaver with some beautiful play there, hitting some max range light bindings and then flashing in for the last kill. So double buffs for Lux is going to make Suno's lane a little bit tougher here in mid. And I guess we'll travel down bottom lane and see what's going on. Twitch is currently sitting in lane with 2 Doran's blades. Caitlyn's coming back now with 2 of her own. And CS is pretty even, so it looks like they've just been trading back and forth. Didn't manage to catch any all-in though. I don't know if they went for it or not in the bottom lane. But they're just casually farming
Zax's had enough of this whole physical damage, picks up the very cost-effective double cloth armor. Probably going to turn into what I can only imagine be an early Seeker's Arm Guard or maybe a Ninja Tabby.
Yep. So I mean, after escaping all that very early pressure here from SKT1, Zax is feeling much better, I think. He's getting turned out a little bit here in levels. He's about a level behind currently, but I mean, as long as he doesn't die, as long as he gets some CS here, he's in a pretty happy place, and he'll eventually pick it up once he gains enough levels. So bottom lane, we've got problems here for Raven, who's very, very low. Pink ward there being put down. Wow.
Very cute.
Very, very cute.
And Anexis, if there's one thing we can say about them, they are switched on today, Pastry Time.
Yeah.
They're doing lots of little things that, on reflection, you're like, oh, that makes sense. But they're just doing it consistently.
Yeah.
Up top lane, another turret dive seems to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, level 3 without the double buffs this time for Jarvan.
I think Horo needs to try, Bezelhan needs to try another lane.
Or just maybe farm his jungle, because he's going to fall very far behind at this point. I mean, Overpower's in the mid right now, he's almost level 5. Just taking some CS here. Syndra rotating up as well, but Overpower spots him. And looks like it's Calaver actually up in the top lane. Looking for a kill up here on Reaper, but they'll back away. Lux Rumble, by the way, I guess we didn't talk about that yet, but in terms of ganking potential, the Equalizer is such a great setup, CC, that if Calaver does manage to roam up top, they're probably going to be able to kill Reaper if he lands his ultimate.
You're correct. I mean, massive amount of magic AoE damage. More magic AoE damage coming down from that Nasus ultimate.
And then
As we see it, Renekton pop the ult there. He's hit level 6 first, just wanted a bit more lane presence.
Yeah, he's
Clear out the creeps.
gonna back off now. Kind of timed that level up very nicely there. I think Zaxus thought he might have been able to get the kill, but no Ignite up for Rumble and not enough damage to Dominus there. Starless down the bottom, picked off there by a Piltover Peacemaker, and Raven actually getting autoed away. He has to be careful. He uses Ambush for a bit of attack speed, and Zyra, held onto it for a while, tried to do damage with the passive, and Arco gets quite low there, but it's not enough, unfortunately. Suno looking for the snipe there, but not going to find it.
Overpower is in the right situation or near the right lane every time, Pastry Time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sign of a good jungler. You know, you have to be game aware. And
There's not much laning mechanics required in auto attacking those jungle minions down. It's again the awareness and the calls, and he seems on top of it.
He does, even as Nasus, who is kind of an interesting jungler. I mean, do you maybe want to take people through why Nasus has been played a little bit more in the jungle, because that's maybe the last spot people thought to put him. Except
Well, the last little buff that gave him the extra Q stacks on
Big
large
minions.
minions,
Yep.
yeah, of course, the big golem, the red buff,
and the big wolf.
the big wolf, and the blue wraith. You just have to think. You don't have to tunnel so much on maxing Q and farming your jungle, because you will get some stacks there just latently by clearing your jungle. You can see here he's maxed Spirit Fire, which gives him a bit of AoE clear. Super useful in trades. And the Wither, the Wither ganks are just insane, and it shuts down an AD carry late game, especially an AD carry like Twitch.
Yep, except blue buff did go to Suno. I think Kalava was thinking about stealing it, but didn't. I think missed the ultimate there to try and pick that one up, so Suno's going to be happy to have blue.
You basically had to max Q to clear the jungle before, just because you wanted to get the cooldown down so that you didn't fall way behind your Q stacks, but now flexibility is the name of the game.
Yep, Dazzle down here in the bottom. Starlust's going to take some pills of a Peacemaker damage, and Caitlyn, as I said, it's a good lane at punishing mistakes. Raven there with a nice little trade onto Caitlyn, but Anexis doing pretty well in all their lanes at this point, and the jungle to boot. Four.
Nasus coming back.
Looking down bottom lane.
Look down bottom lane here for Alanga. He has Ghost up now. No advanced lane wards down for SKT1.
Yeah, and looks like he's just going to come in here. Dazzle there onto Raven. They want to go in. He activates Fury of the Sands. Ace in the hole coming out as well. And just complete damage coming out there as Erotic picks up that kill. Now chasing onto Starlust. They're going to think about a dive here. That's a very fast Nasus.
There's a lot of health.
Yeah. Very scary looking towered over. But backs off in the end there.
The other cute thing is that Nasus is always fantastic at picking up big minion camps like Dragon and Baron, just because of that percentage health damage on his ultimate. He's used his ult now, he won't have quite the same pressure, but a long time ago, say 2 years ago, one of the biggest reasons you picked Nasus was, hey, he can solo Baron really, really early, and he's still a fantastic asset when it comes to taking those large neutral minions.
Yeah, massive lifesteal as well contributed to that ability. Just able to tank those really big buffs. But it's cool. It's been a little while since Nasus has seen a lot of competitive play. And as you said, it's been seeing a little bit more play now. Nice scatter of the week there from Suno. Actually all in there, activates his ultimate. Going forward as well, hits the Q, and the Ignite will finish it off in there. So Suno, some very, very nice plays there in the mid, managed to get a solo kill.
Yeah, the mirror item's not strong enough there to keep poor Celeber alive.
Well, you did say Syndra does do lots and lots of damage.
It can never be overstated.
No.
The other cute thing I've just realized, with this Spirit Fire max, Taric and Nasus, once they get some more levels, even right now, shredding 50 armor, 50 flat armor instantly in an AoE.
Yep. Combos.
Synergy.
Synergy. Delicious, delicious synergy. There's Overpower here, just defending the mid tower. It'll be okay, just pick up a CS here and there. Looks like bottom lane we have more problems. Raven here, maybe going to take the ace in the hole, but Starlust tanks that Erotic go down there to expunge. And now Ambush being used there by Raven. He's thinking about going back in. And he does, throws out the Venom cast, but Nani that out there from Arkel. Gonna get Caitlyn back to safety.
To me, the key thing for SKT1 to do here, much like Pain managed to identify in their win yesterday, they really need an Aegis and a Bulwark completed here. So many types of AoE magic damage coming out from Anexis.
Yep. This Javan, I think, was looking for maybe a tower dive, but saw everybody else coming and decided to back off. Joins his team to push now down the bottom, but there's enough defenders here that they don't think they're going to be able to get this tower down. Even with Javan's help. Beaselheim, he's got a bit of gold to spend. He's looking pretty raw right now. He's got only boots and a Madrid, so... Well, I guess I'm curious to see what he builds next, but I agree. I think he really wants that Bulwark first.
Syndra herself sitting on 2,300. Oh, the Wither comes out once again.
Down the bottom lane, Nasus ganking here, and Raven looking to be in trouble once more, but we'll be able to get out there. Didn't even use the ultimate this time. Overpower kind of ran low on mana, unfortunately, but it is a pretty good ability. And Anexis may even think about Dragon here as they force back Twitch. Oh man, Dazzle 4 there under Starlust, he could be in trouble. Pills of a Peacemaker comes out as well. Couple more auto attacks, and Ace in the hole should be enough here, but doesn't quite have it. Won't be able to stay in vision range either, unfortunately, so a missed kill there for Arkel.
And in all the attention we're putting down bot lane, we can see up top here, Reaper takes down the turret, open up a very healthy 25 CS lead. Again, going for that aggressive Hex Drinker pickup, but he's got it so much earlier that now Rumble just really finds it hard to trade, even though he's gotten probably the most comparable item in the league to Hexdrinker, the early Seeker's Arm Guard.
And once again, with the early kind of mishap in top lane for another Renekton player, he catches up 1v1, able to get the turret. I mean, he's pretty comfortably ahead in CS as well. I mean, I guess Rumble actually didn't get... Oh man, Rumble didn't get any assists in the tower dive, or the missed tower dive, I should say. So he's actually not going to have any extra gold.
So Reaper's coming down for Dragon here. He is a tanky man. He doesn't have boots, but if they fight, if they start on Baron here and beta fight around, the mobility advantage won't hurt him that much in a confined area.
Yeah, Rumble's roam down here as well, though. So Anexis know that they are looking at 5-man Baron here.
The only interesting fact at the moment is that Bezahan's still holding on to a lot of gold here. He's got 1,100 gold, which, given the fact that he only has boots in Madrid, is very significant.
I was going to say Suno might as well, but he actually went back and spent it. Picks up Athene's Unholy Grail. So,
Downbot, more pain for Raven.
yeah, Raven is just not having a good time. Starlass will not enjoy that at all as Ace in the hole picks it up. And the passive here for Zaya going to do a little bit of damage. Going to try and line it up to get as most damage as possible. Looks like mid lane actually Luck's going to go down as Reaper goes in onto Kalava. And now Zaxxas could be in trouble as well. Suno looking to follow up. As Twitch goes down the bottom, Cataclysm off now for Bezelhan, actually trying to trap Erotic in, but it's 3v1 here under this turret, and Bezelhan's got to be very careful being low on mana.
It's interesting, I mean, so many mana problems coming out for Overpower here. He's about 3 to 4 times had a gank where he just had no mana afterwards. Maybe even worth picking up an item like...
Here comes Reaper onto Erotic as well. Whereas this Predator comes out, probably going to do enough damage. I think he has a dice left. He does. Goes in there for an auto attack. Exhaust in there as well from Tarek. Wants to try and get out of this one. And Zaxxas going forward. Erotic will go down there to Reaper, who now has to get well and truly out of the way. The Hex Drink is going to pop off there, so not quite enough damage. And Overpower's pretty low here. Syndra thankfully already used her flash, so looks like it's going to be safe. Tries to go for the snipe, but just out of range there for Scat of the Week.
It's actually a very good escape from Overpower. You clearly didn't have it on the screen there. What he did was he managed to halt his movement to avoid the Scat of the Week the first time, and then managed to ghost away to the last turret hit. He couldn't have taken any more, but very well calculated.
Very nice play there from Nasus. Suno down here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even worth a picking up a flask here for Nasus. I mean, it's a lot of gold to spend on regen, but that mana is really hurting his presence in these longer team fights.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it yesterday actually when we watched Diamond Prox play Volibear, but he had plenty of regen from the
all the regen. I mean, he even had a
Spirit Stone.
Spirit Stone as well. On top of that, crystalline flask.
Yeah, so I mean, he recognized that hey, this champion's good, but I do need some mana regen because I do run out of mana kind of quickly. I wonder if Overpower's going to make a similar kind of assessment here and go for some regen. Right now he's got Locket, I guess, coming up. Yeah, Emblem plus Kindle Gem. Every time I see
looking down on the, I just realized that Nasa's mana cost is still pretty archaic. I mean, level 4 Spiritfire, 115 mana is quite up there.
Yeah.
And now 130 on the level 5 Spiritfire.
It's more than a lot of his mana pool. At only
basically a
600
quarter.
mana. Yeah. And he's using it a lot to farm. Oh, not this time around. Just hit the creeps in the face. Down the bottom, Venom Cast is going off there. Raven going to try and expunge all these creeps. And he'll be able to get pretty much all of them actually under turret. Exactly all of them, in fact. So some nice little mechanics there from Twitch. I mean, this game is still kind of balanced. I mean, despite the kill advantage here for us, for Anexis, SKT1 are actually still slightly ahead in gold, although it's not much at all. Kalava now could be in trouble. Cataclysm coming off there. The light binding off from there. The final spark out as well. Bezelhan in a lot of trouble under that turret. And Suno will get the kill, but a nice trade there as Rumble picks up Jarvan.
It's Reaper though, pastry time. I mean, Lux face checked Reaper before, and then the turret dive comes in here. Reaper is super strong. Hasn't found the goal for boots, but a Sunfire, Hexdrinker, and a Doran's Blade, it's, basically at 15 minutes you can put those items. He is a scary crocodile, and Rumble's trying to scramble to have the same sort of teamfight presence.
In fact, just quickly checking the gold between those two, can see that, wow, that's actually pretty significant. There's 1,000 plus gold up for Reaper already as Dragon goes down there. Overpower going to pick that one up. So Anexis take what advantage they can after that kill in the mid lane, realized they were backing off, so decided they were free to take Dragon there. So that will actually put them slightly ahead here in the gold, about 500 to 600 ahead there. But as you said, Reaper up in the top lane now, pushing with that Sunfire cape, spamming out his Q. It's causing more and more problems.
Probably the most interesting thing to me is we saw those repeated chain ganks down bottom. Raven's died 3 times. He's actually up in CS here.
Can defend this tower here as well. Caitlyn and Tarek trying to take it out, but Twitch, as I said, very, very scary in a duel. So Raven able to actually keep them off there. In terms of gold down the bottom, he is slightly behind, of course, due to the kill score, but only 500 gold behind at 130 versus 302 is pretty impressive there for Raven.
Yeah, I mean, and the item differential is pretty minimal. I mean, both of them close to their Infinity Edge, but no dice yet.
Overpower coming in, but decided to say, hey, we'll just wait. We can push the tower. If they go out of position, we can die. Bezohan actually down here now. Gonna try and help them out as Raven just Venom cast plus expunges those creeps away. I mean, they're doing...
For anyone wondering, he's at 93 Siphoning Strike stacks.
It's not bad. Or 90 plus 93, I guess.
Plus 93 AD, so 31 stacks, unless you count the
Mid
main
lane.
minions, which make it so much harder to calculate. And yeah, yep, the Syndra damage, the Syndra burst, still very present.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Suno clearly showed he was an accomplished Lux player in the last game. He's outplayed Salava twice now on Syndra. And respect the burst, I think is what he's thinking now. That need to see Large Rod up there, doing plenty of damage to Lux. He's gone for Haunting Guys, actually. Possibly going in for that Leandries. Make all that poke that much better. Suno, though, straight damage right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see Rabadons, but Zoni's would also be quite good here. Oh man, good stun actually on Scatter the Weak. There's the follow-up in from Bezohan, and Overpower completely caught out of position by that one. And really, there's not a whole lot you can do, and that is one of the really neat bits about Syndra's utility. That stun has a deceptively long range. And now Erotic could find himself in trouble as well. Oh, beautiful work there by Suno. Spray and Pray activated in there by Raven as well. And I don't know if it's going to be enough damage, but Tarek is very, very low.
When you think of the team with Lux, Rumble, and Caitlyn as the ones that would be doing most of the sieging, but it's all the aggressive play here, facilitated by this very early Adventure Reaper coming out of SK221.
Yeah, I mean, Suno's looking strong here as well. I'll have to give credit to the mid laner. 302 for Syndra, actually the most fed person on their team. In fact, does he have the most gold as well? He does by a hair. About 50 gold up on Reaper.
Very smartly picking up the Merc Treads here, Suno. I mean, very mid-range champion, especially before she manages to max out all her spells there. Suno, you know, especially if you're trying to fish for the Scatter the Weak before it's evolved. And, you know, Nasus, while he wants to get the Wither ideally on Twitch just to shut down his attack speed and his move speed, he'll take a Wither on Syndra, so Merc Tread's a very smart buy.
Yeah. Just spamming down the creep waves now, throwing minions into other minions, watching them
Up
explode.
top, yeah, finally an answering kill has to surely come out
There's
here.
a flash out from Reaper. Lecture Harpoon will hit, and Reaper, he tries to do what he can before he goes down, but Overpower with a nice gank there. Gonna give Rumble a kill, which is, I think, a sigh of relief there for Zaxxas. Suno actually looking to get a kill here. Rumble has to be careful. If Syndra gets in range, I have a funny feeling.
He's dead.
Yes. The flash was up there as well for Suno, but couldn't quite find it, unfortunately. Bezohan now taking red buff away, actually, but the rest of Anexis coming in. Looks like Jarvan's going to have to give that up. And just rotate himself back mid, pick up a little bit of CS. Twitch.
Meanwhile, Star's having the time of his life down bottom, pushing.
All the CS here. Delicious, delicious CS. Twitch off getting red buff, so yeah. Zara's pushing away. Zara, not a terrible pushing champion, that's for sure. All those plans.
And it is a plan here to give him CS, because look, he hasn't gone for traditional support items here. Even though 022 only two assists, the early Haunting Guys comes out of Zara.
Yeah. Haunting Guys before Ruby Sidestone's finished, actually. I mean, he has a Sidestone, so he's got a couple of wards in there. And a couple of Sight wards as well, actually, to complement those, which is kind of nice. And now an Oracles comes out for Starlast as well. So I wonder...
It's amusing. Seeing that Haunting Guys makes you think he's ahead in gold, but ironically, even gold, like basically down to a hair between Erotic and Starless.
Just tapping over the gold real quick, you can see, yeah, there's a few gold between them every now and then. Less than 50 for the most part. I mean, Zara, much like... I'm trying to think of the other support, I can't remember though. But does have plenty of damage with those plants, so it benefits a lot from that Haunting Guys. I guess we saw it yesterday when Lost Boy got a little bit crazy on Sona.
The Rambo fed Sona.
Rambo fed Sona. She was scary, man. As Crashing Roots just misses there onto Erotic. Stun almost in range there as well. But doesn't quite hit onto Tarek, unfortunately.
If you catch the VOD of that CJ Entis Blaze versus, I believe it was LGIM?
I thought it was Millennium they played, actually, but...
It might have, actually, I think it was Millennium, the Rambo fed Sona from
it was good fun.
Last Boy. It was a sight to be seen.
We had a
He
lot.
eventually just started taking CS from his lane,
Yeah.
from Captain Jack, because why not?
We had a lot of fun with that game. That was it's good to see. But yeah, he pulled his best Edward impersonation for that one. Even playing Sona as well. But Osprey got pretty crazy. Draven going to go back down. Infinity Edge is completed for both carries now on either team. So, as you said, they're pretty much on par in terms of items. Pretty much the same in terms of gold as well.
Yeah, they interestingly went down and bought that item at the exact same time. If you looked at the chat, both, such and such has purchased Infinity Edge came up just at the same time. So, literally the only difference between the two is, completed Vamp Scepter.
Which is nice, but it'll add up eventually. As looks like Anexis is starting off this dragon here. Jarvan is pretty far away from helping them as well, so SKT want to have to be careful here. They want to go in for the poke. The Venom Cast comes in. The ultimate actually gets in there as well. And Reaper's going pretty deep. Overpower now diving in with his ultimate, but Reaper's still in and amongst it all. Jarvan now finally going to come in as Reaper just gets out of the way. And there's Erotic, could be in trouble. Cataclysm over the top there onto Caitlyn. Suno picks up Tarek there for the first kill of this one. And Reaper now, he's going to get out here. Salava pretty low as well. Kel now being chased. As Suno almost hits him with a stun. Is the W going to go over the wall? No, it doesn't quite have enough range. A good light binding that keeps Beazelheim at bay. Raven, though, flashing forward there on Twitch to try and do some damage. But Ace in the Hole is actually going to get himself picked up there. So a 1-for-1
Ace in the
trade.
Hole profiting from the Spirit Fire Armor Shred. Lovely synergy there.
And 1-for-1 trade there as the support gets traded for an AD. Everyone on both teams pretty low as Starlust is going to continue to collect a bit more CS here. Blue buff going over as well here for Lux. And despite, still pretty even. The gold is almost exactly even between these two teams with a couple extra towers separating the couple of extra kills that Anexis have.
The difference is that the dive from Renekton, Rumble's not usually a dive champion until he gets a few more items. But, the dive from Renekton, he survived so long there, Reaper. He was able to go in there, disrupt, do damage, and get out without dying. They just don't have that same presence quite yet on Anexis.
No, and that was all without Jarvan being in position. He was walking up from just left of red buff, so near the Wraith camp actually, walking into the dragon.
Dive buddies there would have been super scary if they'd gone in together.
Yeah, Beazelheim picked a nice spot. He managed to knock up the support and trap the AD carry in there as well with the Cataclysm, but if he'd been there earlier, I would have been a much cleaner engage there for SKT1.
And no gold in it, Pastry Time.
No, not at all. The gold is obviously updating constantly, but there's about 100, if that, between these two teams. And now the Oracle Starlust going to clear out for Baron here, potentially. 25 minutes is about when teams might think about doing the first Baron, but you definitely have to...
Surely not with Raven down bottom.
I guess not. But teams, it's definitely in the mind of the teams now. You automatically tend not to think about it until a bit later into the game, but this point in the game is usually when teams start thinking about Baron, and you can see that they're actively moving across the map, trying to clear out the wards. Just at least making sure they have control of the area.
I can't help but draw my eyes to Siphoning Strike stacks, currently at plus 129 damage here.
So he's getting there.
Max to last.
Yeah, interestingly, he's got Spirit Fire and then Wither for that CC. As you said, Nasus is very different now after the recent slew of changes.
Well, opening up options for him, that's why we see him. And then the Wither, he always had... And it's really strong.
Yep. I guess your dogs heard that Nasus were around, so decided to bark at their good friend.
No terrible jokes, Space.
Reaper now going to get dazzled here as well. Light binding there to follow up. Pills of a Peacemaker can come in. The Equalizer on top as well. The Hextrigger just going to save him as he flashes out of the way. And there's the knock up there from Zara's ultimate. And quite a few people on our Nexus pretty low there. Suno manages to make sure that was not going to hit Twitch, even though it was after Syndra. That was a bit strange to watch. But everybody else gets out. In fact, no casualties on either side there for that little exchange. And a good disengage there from SKT1. Reaper there, thought he could be in trouble, but managed to get out there with a very nice
A
extra.
cute little ward there, Patient. Erotic was not able to spot the ward just over the ridge.
Oh wow, that is cute. Just giving them enough vision to see, hey, they're doing Baron, and Anexis back off.
And it's just not in the natural arc of the ward sweep to see that ward there.
No. And as you said, knowing little things like that, studying your opponents, having knowledge of where the common ward spots are and exploiting them is a big part of League of Legends. Big part of any game, really, is preparation. And that's not necessarily something that SKT1 might have known from, studying this team, because they might not have access to a lot of Anexis games, but, they can think about what a team's doing commonly where are the common ward spots and try and exploit
Maybe
them
we'll
that
try
way.
and keep an eye out, because we will see SKT21 again tonight. Whether that's kind of a favored ward position for Stardust, I believe it was.
It's a pretty cool spot. Ace in the hole here onto Stardust. Gonna clear it out. In fact, they're trying to kill him, but not quite enough poke there. Stardust will go down to just above half health, but so that'll be okay for now. Stardust actually going back, decides it didn't really like that. Overpower looking in as well. They're gonna find the ward. No, they don't. Still haven't found that ward. They're gonna find it now. There we go.
Finally. It did its job, Pitch. It
yeah.
was worth the gold. Cost to
Definitely.
buy.
Light Binding just missing there on Saripid. And SKT1, they've got, they have oracles. They know there's no vision here right now. Actually a double ward being put down in that brush. They want vision on both sides.
It's kind of frustrating to me that, we had the balanced gold, and I thought, okay, the next team fight will tell us something. No one dying, so close on both sides. Again, the only thing you can say here is that Renekton is a tanky beast, and that the lovely synergy and AoE damage on the Anexis side has potential. But where the tilt is there, we're still unsure.
Yeah, because the last two team fights were a 1-for-1 trade and a 0-for-0 with nobody.
And speaking
dying.
of trades, we could be seeing a crazy one.
Alright, Anexis, they're on Baron. They know they're in the area, they had a lot of wards. Starlast is going to know for sure in a minute. He's like, oh goodness, this could be bad. And SKT1, they're not going to be able to stop the Baron, but can they get any kills? Beazelhan going to go in there. Brumble actually picking that one up. There's the Cataclysm going up. The Equalizer in there as well. Caitlyn taking quite a bit of damage there from the ultimate and from Syndra. And Reaper is in amongst it now in the team fight. SKT1, they're trying to follow up the final spark out in there as well. Overpower finally gets a kill there onto Reaper, but there's a couple of kills already being traded here. Suno being caught by a Light Binding, has to flash out of the way. And Jarvan in the back there gets taken up by Caitlyn as well. Oh my goodness, Raven, what a ninja. He ambushes in, he shuts down Caitlyn. Suno back in there as well. There's another kill for Suno, and a third kill in there as well, as Syndra picks up the double. And Raven, what a sneaky, sneaky play.
The fearless rat pastry time. He, with blatant disregard there, he saw that another target had been exhausted, went straight in. It's the advantage of having that ability to go invisible and position well there. And Raven, hats off to him. He won that fight for SKT2.
I don't think many people... I think the sign of a good Twitch player is using his invisibility effectively. Because it's so limited now and how long it lasts. And, even beyond that, Raven knew that Taric was dead, so they didn't have an Oracles. And knew that play was safe as well. Because if there's a pink ward in the area, if Taric's next to the AD carry at that point with his Oracles, that play does nothing and Raven just gets himself killed. So there are a lot of really key factors there, and Raven made a split-second decision to go back in with Ambush on and managed to pick his team up 3 kills there. In fact, that's no Baron buff, right? On Anexis, they only get the gold. Yeah, every single person died.
Yeah, SKT1, they lose out on Baron, but they leave the fight head and gold.
Which is pretty impressive, given that Baron gives you a pretty big chunk of global gold. Looks like SKT1 are going to collect some global gold of their own here and get Dragon.
It's global gold that's actually really costing Anexis. Last game, they were really meticulous in picking up all outer turrets, but only 1 turret down for this game.
Yeah, and 4-for-1's a pretty big discrepancy there in terms of objectives. The rest of Anexis split here. Probably going to have to back off from their own blue. Although maybe not. Reapid can go through those trees there if he needs to. But I think he's trying to zone out Caitlyn, just walking the long way around. Yeah, Reapid is just... He's looking for a juicy target, but he's going to get himself dazzled. Light Binding in there as well. Activates Dominus there. Beazelhan over the top, but there's no one else to really follow up there. And the Equalizer's going down for extra AoE. But here the carries come in now. Zaxxas picks up Reapid there for the first kill. Beazelhan very, very low as Twitch is trying to do the damage. And Anexis able to get the front line down. Raven now way too low is going to get picked up by Spirit Fire. And Suno is trying to do a little bit of damage, but Syndra can't quite find it. Gets 2 kills before dying. But Starlast here, I think he's going to get it. And it might be the comeback ace here. Or the reverse ace as SKT1 Starlast has to run for his life here. Caitlyn likely going to get the kill.
90 caliber net takes down the kill. Nothing but net.
Nothing but net there. Okay. Wow. And we promised no more terrible jokes. I guess we lied.
Oh, come on. How often do you see someone died in net?
To be fair, that was probably the safest way for Caitlyn to get that kill as well. You saw that Starlast realized he was dead. Tried to actually grasping roots Caitlyn and get the kill. Because the passive probably would have killed her after she died. But Arkel gets well and truly out of the way there by netting Zarya in the face. And nothing but net. I'll remember that one.
Okay. You won't get the chance. He does 280 damage. It is the standard second max here, so it does do damage, but awesome anyway.
It's pretty awesome. And the counter ace, I guess, for Anexis there. So this game's still staying very, very close.
And now we know. But see, the one thing that definitely happened there is that Reaper and Bezelhan sat in the equalizer for basically the full duration. And this isn't any normal equalizer. This is an equalizer that was applying the full damage of Liandry's Torment the whole time. It was painful for them. They were chunked down super hard. And their tank line, that's the tank line they've had that's been very fed. We look over here, Bezelhan, very intelligent, building that bulwark. Maybe the bulwark completion will be the difference here.
He's trying to steal the blue. Oh, gets it. Very, very cute there, but just manages to smite that one away. So Lux gonna get her blue buff denied here. Starlast still with another Oracle, clearing out wards. And yeah, I mean, this fight's still very, very close. Certainly, that initiation was a little bit too far ahead of the rest of the team, I think. And Reaper was a little bit too aggro in there. I mean, we've said it before, Reaper's a very aggressive player. And no one's gonna tell him, don't go in.
He's the captain of the team. I imagine he makes the calls as well. And that was his call there. It just didn't work out that time.
I mean, if the rest of SKTT1 were a little bit closer, then that would have been probably a very different team fight. But as it is, this game's still very even between these two teams, and it's hard to say who's going to win. I mean, I don't even think I give anybody a necessary advantage just on team comp alone. I think maybe late game Anexis have a bit more of an advantage, but you can't really count out Syndra's damage or Twitch's damage late game either.
I really think if they get the bulwark completed before the next fight, SKTT1 will run it down just because magic damage, so much magic damage on the side of Anexis. I mean, Rumble and Lux all about AoE, burst and sustain magic damage. The Nass is going to be in the middle of the team. He's a tanky man doing magic damage. That's a big deal. And even though they have that innate shred, as we see a very nice Grasping Roots go out there, on the Anexis side, I think Bulwark is just really, really powerful choice.
You have to think Bezelhan's probably pretty close to finishing it at this point. In fact, if we tab over, he's
got the gold.
He's ready. So we'll see if SKTT1 can identify this and not win a team fight for a couple more minutes. Baron is due back on the way in a few minutes' time as well. And that's going to be Bulwark. There we are. So Jarvan, not feeling too much here. I mean, he's a jungler, he doesn't get that much CS. He's been involved in a couple of kills here, but he doesn't have too much gold to speak of. But he's spending it pretty wisely when he does have it.
Nasus himself, 80 gold away from a bulwark. It won't have quite the same massive impact on the side of Anexis, but 30 magic resist all around.
Yeah, still adds up. I mean, a little bit less damage from Syndra. I think
if someone goes from getting instantly burst to surviving because of that bulwark, it's done its job.
Yeah, a little bit less expunge damage. It all adds up.
I believe expunge does physical damage now.
Oh, does it? They kept changing it. You are correct.
Yes, it does.
But it scales off AP and AD, interestingly. Double
Twitch
scale.
probably only ever gets about 5 AP if he activates his Ignite. That's about the only time you see AP on Twitch.
He has Baron buff.
That's true. I say a lie. Someone could buy Will of the Ancients.
That's true. That could be exciting.
Trinity Force Twitch, probably not a thing.
Probably not a thing. He's actually got Infinity Edge Last Whisper here, and Static Shiv, excuse me. So, 3 damage items, usually a good place for an AD carry. Caitlyn, similar, not quite the same, but very similar, doing a lot of damage there with those items. Phantom Dancer, Infinity Edge, and Last Whisper. Those kind of classic AD carry items. Many, many damages. And SKT1, they're setting up here. I mean, all they need, either team needs really is one good engage. Rumble then making it difficult. Reaper though wants to go in. SKT1 they try and go this in as well. Bezelhan looking for a carry, but Kalava's off to the side. They're trying to poke him away. The rest of SKT1 can't quite get in there. And Jarvan's up may have actually blocked him off a little bit there. But Erotic's going to get low. The laser actually clips Twitch there. And now Reaper trying to fight Lux. He can't quite get it done. Suno very low. Is going to fall here, I think, to overpower after Ace in the Hole comes in. And a double kill out in there for Lux. Starlast running away. Syndra, I think, going to slow them down long enough. Actually, might even get a kill here onto Overpower. But that Spirit Fire, one more tick. No, doesn't quite have it. Actually stuns off Arkwell there. There's the damage coming in, but no. Overpower's able to get in there for one last auto attack. And a very nice fight there from Anexis. Starlast's the only one left who's actually on full health. I think he may have come back here. He's trying to do a little bit of poking where he can, but he's probably not going to be able to get Anexis off Baron.
Pacer time. There are no words to describe how wonderful the equalizer was there from Zaxxas. He put it down, and I watched as Twitch. He started up his spray invite. He realized he had to reposition because he was just tanking that massive, massive damage from the Equalizer and the Andrew's Torment. By the time he managed to free hit the team, he was on about a third health. And that just tells you that Rumble did his job that fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we talked about Anexis' AoE damage. They certainly showed it there. And I mean, SKTT1, even that engaged to me. I mean, if you're fighting and your AD carries is not quite in the right position, SKTT1 really have to be careful with their engages because they have a lot of stuff to wade through in order to get there. I mean, even Jarvan has to make sure his ult's positioned correctly, otherwise it's going to be too hard for his team to follow up. And again, Reaper, he made the call, he wanted to go in. But it just feels like Anexis are getting more and more edges here in terms of positioning when these team fights are actually happening. So the game that was close is still actually very, very close. I mean, in all this, Anexis still somehow have not managed to get any other towers in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's really starting to hurt.
Oh, that's very bad news for our kill. Spray and Pray's going to do enough damage. Beazelhan makes sure to get the kill there with Cataclysm. And I wonder what SKTT1 are going to do with this. Overpower now caught out as well. Twitch just going to explode him as Syndra comes in for a little bit more damage to pick up the kill. And that was a gift there for SKTT1. Final Spark coming out. Starlight's getting blasted down there by Lux. But won't quite
in a close game like this, getting picks like that can be massive, especially if SKTT1 can translate this into a Baron.
Well, they need something here. A couple of free kills is nice. The death time is long though. They want to try and get objectives if they can. No Oracles here for Starlight is actually kind of irritating because they're not able to clear out the vision. But they are going to go on to Baron here. I mean, any fight they force will be pretty much 3v4. I mean, Zara's probably too low to make too much of a difference, but if Starlight can stay... Actually, still has ultimate up. Oh, Final Spark coming out? No, not quite. Good smite under pressure there from Beazelhan. Oh man, Zara actually died.
And the combined burst damage from the Lux laser going down and the first proc of the Rumble ult, they did really have a chance to beat out Smite there, but a cool head prevails from Beazelhan.
Yeah, managed to smite it under pressure and clean up Baron there. So SKTT1, that was a pretty thin Baron they managed to take, but they were confident in their ability to finish it, and they trusted their jungler's smite ability. And good thing too, because even there it was a pretty tense moment there for SKTT1, despite having 2 free kills off there. And as you said, picks are a godsend here this late in the game. You don't normally see it happen because usually teams don't separate at this point, but Anexis there just had a couple of people out of position. Most importantly, their AD carry was out of position in there as well, and Overpowered running in to try and save him just ended up caught between the rest of SKTT1. And now SKTT1, the game's still very close here. There's only a very minimal 1,000-ish gold between these two teams, but this Baron buff's going to give SKT a lot of momentum.
It's just, again, it's a close game. It's been a methodical game, but it might be defined by one mistake. And credit to where it's credit's due. SKTT1, they used their ward coverage to pick up a pick there, turned it into a Baron, and now the siege is on.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about, you know, when you're ahead, you want to be aggressive and ward the enemy jungle so you can continue to snowball. I mean, even when the game's close, you want to always have as much knowledge of the map as you can, because that just may come up there where you're able to get a free kill. And now SKT1, the siege is on. I mean, there's really good wave clear here for Anexis.
Yeah, the wave clear is insane, and that's, you know, Lux, very, very strong wave clear. Caitlyn as well. Rumble can use his ulti if it's necessary. Anexis Overpower's put in, you know, he's maxed his Spirit Fire early here. The wave clear is clear. So how did SKT1 take this Baron and force an advantage out of it?
Well, Reaper is just Ramboing here, hanging out towards the middle turret, doing a little bit of damage. Lux rotates over, but that's going to give enough room actually for SKT1 to just push down this turret. And again, just aggressively warding forward towards the enemy base, trying to give yourself as much space as possible. SKT1, I mean, they know they don't really have a good team to siege as 5, so they're splitting up here very intelligently, doing a little bit of split push, but making sure they have enough coverage between the lanes so that they can keep on top of everything. And now, Anexis are trapped in their base, and the split push is going to continue here for SKT1.
Yeah, and I mean, they have the Oracles here to clear out vision. They now have basically a monopoly on every resource on the map, except for the creeps that are hitting the Anexis turret, which is a wonderful position to be in for SKT1. They can split here. They probably want to go top and get that top lane pushing, because very strong push coming out from the Anexis minions here. But otherwise, everything is perfectly set for them.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to separate more than a lane away from each other. They don't want to truly split push because they know that if Anexis do come in, they want to be able to team fight. And if they're here between these two lanes, they can generally find a place to go to. Raven actually...
Lux lining did ban on Raven. They had to flash cleanse, which could be very significant. That's a huge window for Anexis to initiate into a team fight.
And 80k without summoners, especially one like Twitch, is a pretty juicy target indeed. And Twitch only really has his Negatron cloak there for defense, so it looks like understanding this SKT1 may even have to back out of this push completely for the next, 3 minutes until Flash is back. And as you called it, Papa, the big mini wave in top did manage to finally take out a second outer turret here for Anexis.
It's interesting here, just trying to reclaim map coverage here. No oracles available on Erotic, but he has the boots of mobility, able to get around the map and try and counter vision. It's just so... I mean, we've said it so many times, this game's so even. We're just waiting for that real turning point for this game. Because I think 1-1 team fight here will lead to, most likely, a snowball victory.
What do you think of Frozen Mallet here for Caitlyn?
I mean, AD carries are actually starting to get away, build that giant spell early and then realize that Frozen Mallet's a very attractive option. The constant 30% slow from range against a diver like Renekton, who, once he uses his gap closer, he doesn't have it up for quite a while. It's a really nice pickup. It's a style choice, and it's just Warmogs has been nerfed. It's not the be-all end-all that it was before, and Frozen Mallet provides a lot if you can afford to pick it up. Obviously, a very expensive item.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, pretty much everyone on both teams just have so much gold. I mean, we're...
Awkward thing came out there, page time. I believe the 6 damage from Bladed Armor picked up the blue buff away from Lulu there. From Lux, sorry, there.
Which doesn't come up often, but it feels very awkward when it does. Australia's Rev actually getting popped there by Overpower. Pops his oracles as well. Clears out a ward that he saw getting placed in that brush. Raven, they're going to take a little bit of poke from Final Spark. Ace in the hole as well. There's the equalizer. They really want to assassinate this Twitch. But a great stun there from Suno. So Zaxxas couldn't follow up, and Beezerhunt's now going to cut them off as well. Raven, though, has got to be very, very careful. He's so low. But he cleanses off the Ignite there, I think, and Overpower still coming in. The knock-up there from Stranglethorns happened as well. And SKT1, they're just kiting back and forth. But Anexis making a lot of ground here on this team fight. Suno going in, tries to pick off Lux. Actually, Zhonya's is in there as well. But essentially just gives up his life there. Distracts the rest of Anexis, and I think SK Telecom, they're going to get out here, but that was not the fight they wanted, and poor Raven just completely poked to death almost.
Ironically, they all congregate in mid. That's the only outer turret they have down. I tell a lie. They also managed to pick up, the minions actually managed to pick up top turret and all the excitement.
Yep. But, they'll take it. They'll try and push down this tier 2 now in mid. I'm scanning through both sides. There's quite a few items on pretty much everyone here. I mean, everyone's not quite at full build. The inventories certainly look a little bit more full here for SKTT1, but a bit more global gold here is going to pad Anexis' wallets. And in fact, if SK Telecom don't respond fast enough, they're going to lose this inhibitor turret pretty quickly. Beezerhunt actually going to get Final Spark for quite a big chunk of damage. Ace in the hole as well for a lot of poke, and I think this inhibitor turret's going to go down here. And crazily, Anexis actually get the first inhibitor turret this game. Raven there cannot afford to stand in that spot. Gets busted though by Light Blinding plus Lucent Singularity. And now Reaper getting chased down as well. Dazzler coming out there onto Renekton. And Stardust now does not want to be here. But he's tried to knock him up. He gets a 5-man knock up. And his passive's going to come out as well. But still can't get a kill. And Nexus going to get this inhibitor. And 3 kills for 0 there after the position that Nexus were in is pretty impressive turnaround here.
Now they have the main wave clear down. They have Raven down here, so they're going to try and push on for the win. I think they might pick it up.
Oh, that's one Nexus turret. Caitlyn's still doing plenty of damage. They're able to light binding and poke everybody up. Beezerhunt there goes in with the ultimate there onto top of Erotic, and will get the kill there under tower. Suno actually picks that one up, but that's going to be, I think, another kill. Good Zhonya's there coming out from Syndra, but a Nexus